Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. It's time to talk dark skies, and I'm so happy to have Justina Parsons Bernstein here. She's a PhD with the Utah State Parks and their dark sky program. Welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is something that we, I think you and I talked about this a little bit off camera about our childhood and looking up at the stars and the fact that the skies are much different now. But the thing is, really, there has never been a time when man hasn't looked to the sky.
Absolutely, it's always been an inspiration. It's always been something that's driven us to go skyward, actually.
Right.
You know, and but here's the thing: you talked about how it's different than when we were kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can see this, but
on that.
It's a tragedy to learn that 75 to 80% of the world's population cannot see the Milky Way from where they are because of light pollution.
Wow.
And this map shows the U.S. and the change in light that we reflect up, that we're generating here over time. And this is where we are really basically right now. This is
compared
a projection.
to the 50s or 70s. Oh my goodness.
But what do we notice over here?
Yeah, the west's still pretty dark.
Still dark, and we're lucky in Utah because we're one of the darkest places left, so that's great.
That's impressive. And then, of course, to go with that, too, we've got some great altitude, which helps us, right?
Absolutely. We're high, we're dry, and much of us are away from urban areas that have, light pollution. So.
Right. And of course, there have been communities, Park City being one of them, that have really worked to try to keep the lighting pointed downward.
That's right.
This is important. We waste a lot of light in places with it pointed up.
That's
Vegas.
right. That's right.
Good grief.
If you've ever flown from Los Angeles to Vegas, there's no cessation in light. It's just this river of light. And I'm so glad you said wasted, because why are we lighting the skies? We've already got beautiful stuff in the skies. We need to turn those down. Directional lighting,
right.
Light at what you need, where you need it, when you need it. Yes.
Wasted energy right there.
It saves energy. For something else, saves money, for goodness sakes, if you light where you need it, when you need it.
Parking lots are one of the biggest offenders of this, and unfortunately, Rocky Mountain Power may be ending their initiative to start to convert those parking lots to LED lighting and to down-pointing lighting. So if you own a big parking lot, this would be the time to think about maybe switching to LED and switching to those lights that are pointed downward while you still can.
Right, and just a point about LEDs, you want them in the cool spectrum if you're going to use LEDs. You want that amber spectrum, not blue spectrum. Yep. Blue is bad for everything. So. Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't help us with seeing things at all.
That's right.
So we definitely want to keep that. And that's something that Park City, again, we can laud it ourselves a little bit for this. Park City Municipal has been very good about making sure that we are using that light that's in more in that incandescent, warmer range.
Right.
The 2700K area, which is really ideal.
Right. Well, Park City knows about tourism. That's one thing.
Yep.
And there are astro tourists, if you can believe.
Yeah.
Astro tourists.
They come to Utah because this is the great place to see it.
Absolutely.
Worldwide.
Right. Utah leads the world in international dark sky parks, and I think we're the only state and probably the only place in the world that has a county designation as well as national and state parks. So we have 9 designations here, more than any other place in the world. And if I get my way, we've got 3 Utah state parks that have already been named international dark sky parks.
Let's talk about those.
Dead Horse Point was our first one, June 2016, and then Goblin Valley right after that in October 2016.
And a surprise in this next one.
Antelope Island was just designated, and now before the skeptics out there, there are levels. So Dead Horse and Goblin came in at gold tier, but Antelope Island came in at bronze tier, and on the west side of that island, it is dark, and you can fully see the Milky Way.
Right.
It is a beautiful sight over the Great Salt Lake on the west side of the island.
One of these days, I'm hoping that we make a state park designation of the wonderful Wendover Airfield, the historic airfield, and that is another really terrific place to look at the stars, because once you get out just a little bit away from town at all, it is pitch black. I mean, scary black. Enough that if you're flying an airplane there, you're essentially flying in instrument rating conditions. You can't even see a horizon.
That is cool. There's some movement out there. So we have a state park heritage area out there called Danger Cave.
That's right.
So that is a good place we open that every once in a while and give a tour of that cave. But at night out there, it's beautiful to see the stars. And recently, the Confederated Tribes of Goshen, which are out there, passed a resolution to try to become a dark sky nation.
Wow.
And so that's pretty cool. But we have So we have 3 that have been named International Dark Sky
right.
Parks, but we have 12 more in the pipeline.
They're working on it.
That are working on it.
Including some right close to
That's
us.
right. Right here we have Jordanelle State Park, Deer Creek State Park, Wasatch Mountain State Park, and a little bit over the hill, Rockport and East Canyon are all going for it. Then if you just head down that way, Steinecker and Red Fleet also going for
Wow.
it. Then we have Fremont Indian State Park, Coral Pink Sand Dune State Park.
Oh, that's another good spot.
Goosenecks. Have you ever
Yeah.
been to Goosenecks?
Not
State
yet, but
Park?
I keep hearing
oh,
about
man,
it.
go to Goosenecks, and that is phenomenal. Overlooking the San Juan, and then the skies there are so, so dark. And Quail Creek and Gunlock.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
going, yep, all
All
going
right.
for it.
Well, speaking of all of those stars, here are the accoutrement of a good stargazer. All the books necessary, the night sky chart as well. Those charts are very helpful.
Yes.
I got to be honest, I kind of maybe wreck my night sky viewing just a little bit by using my iPhone. But
You can
but
do
it
Amber.
is amazing.
Doing the
Yeah.
app, you mean? Oh,
Use the
those are so
they're
phenomenal.
wonderful.
You can take
For
those.
kids especially. those are great.
Absolutely. Take them out to Utah State Parks, gives tons of night sky programs. I wanted to talk
Okay.
about that.
Let's do that.
And there's star parties, which are super fun, but not just star parties. There's full moon kayaking,
Right.
like Great Salt Lake Marina does that, full moon hikes. Rockport State Park puts on what we call scorpion safaris, where you go out and learn about scorpions, but they also talk about dark sky and the importance for dark sky for animals.
Yeah.
Very important for insects, animals, birds,
We're
humans.
connected to the moon and to the stars, aren't
Right,
we?
and to darkness. We reset, our brains reset. We need that true dark. So,
Wow. So very, very important for sure. Now, again, a lot of really great pieces of literature here to help you figure out what you're looking at, how to look at it, everything from what to get, how we can see it through these giant telescopes and what have you. Yeah, talk about that. Where can we find some more literature like this? Obviously, the library is a good place.
One of the most helpful things you can go to is the International Dark Sky Association, IDA, darksky.org, talks about how you can help preserve dark sky.
Okay.
So that's for that part of it. For looking at stars, NASA has a great website that points out
right.
what's in the sky. And then our own Clark Planetarium is a fun place to hit down in Salt Lake. And it's also a great place to go. They have very knowledgeable people there that can tell you about the telescope you might want, what your capabilities are.
Right.
Do you need a massive one, or what can you see through a smaller one? So
How hard are they to line up? I
Right.
find that one difficult with my kids. So
right.
They have some that'll find the stars for you.
True, but with your
great.
app that you were talking
Right.
about, you can get that general area. You don't even need
Yeah.
one of those. You don't need one of those self-guiding ones, because if you're out in the outback, you might run out of battery
It's a lot of
power or
electricity.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
All right. Well, we've got a lot behind us here
Yes.
too. Let's talk about what we're looking at here. So I like this. We talked about the ecosystem a little bit. Maybe we should kind of touch on this in the animals. for a
Sure.
minute.
So the effects for animals. Toronto, if you can believe it, is a dark sky friendly city. Toronto.
Wow.
They got that pass partially through lights. Birds guide their flight, their migrations by stars.
Oh, wow.
And so big city lights confuse them, and they'll flap around lights until
Really?
they wear themselves out, and they'll drop dead of exhaustion, or they bang into buildings, things like that.
Oh, my.
So there was a group that collected all the dead birds for a year and set them out in a plaza, like 1 million birds, and people went by that and were just confounded by that. And they changed their lighting practices because of that. The whole city of Toronto. It makes a huge difference.
Again, this is where downlighting becomes
Right.
critical.
Right.
Yeah.
Downlighting becomes
and
critical.
you have to think about this. Even when we do that, we can sometimes confuse animals. Ducks often look at roads and the reflection of a road and think it's water,
Right.
and they will crash right into it, thinking they're landing.
Sea turtles, same thing.
Yeah.
They're genetically programmed when they hatch to look at moonlight on the ocean and
towards the
go
water.
to that. But look at all the seaside resorts now, and they see those lights and they go instead. So something like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 sea turtles makes it to adulthood now.
Oh my goodness, that's scary. Well, we know that we got the little foxes, things like that are using that light to help them. That's helps.
Well, they're
them find-
nocturnal, and so
Yeah.
if you blow their nocturnal, they're nocturnal, that's how they sneak up on their prey.
Right.
If you're lighting everything, then guess who can see you coming? So they're not getting to eat. Everything
boy.
has to eat. So, it's so easy to bring this home, to enact this, to light only where you need it, only when you need it.
Turn those lights off at night.
but people have those beautiful, like let's say chandeliers in their gorgeous front rooms, right?
Yeah.
And then they open the blinds for everyone
Sure.
to see that gorgeous light fixture. And that's called light trespass, when the light goes out of your window.
Light trespass.
Light trespass. And if just pull those blinds, folks, and enjoy those for yourself,
All
right?
I like this. Light courtesy at your campsite. This is another important one. When we're talking about these dark sky places, we want to make sure that we keep them dark.
Absolutely, yes. So don't ruin the dark skies for your neighbors. Again, directional lighting, and only when you need it.
Okay.
And you know, people, there's a big safety thing that always comes up,
Sure.
right? So have you ever been blinded by headlights in your eyes
Oh, yeah.
and want to drive off the road, right?
Yeah.
That's not safe. Same with so-called security lights that are aimed in your eyes. That actually prevents you from seeing what you need to see, and we probably can't see this very well,
Yeah.
but there's a light and there's a gate right here, and the person's being blinded on the approach, and then if they had to put up their hand to protect them from the light, and there was someone lurking in that gate.
What
So-
good does it do you at that
Exactly.
point, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about some more of the stray light. We talked about uplighting, so I think we've covered that at
Right.
nauseum.
Right.
But again, this is that we talked about this light pollution.
Right.
Here's the United States right now. This is interesting. Degraded horizons. That's another thing to think about.
Right, so not just around where the hot spots are. And by the way, there are some places that never have actual dark. They live in eternal twilight because of the light. There's never true dark.
Wow.
And as I said, we need that true dark to reset, to actually get our serotonins and our melatonin. So that
Vegas and New York keep coming to mind immediately.
Yeah,
for
in
that.
LA. In
Wow,
LA.
in LA.
Yeah.
right?
So you can't see this very well, but there was this, remember that massive power outage on the East Coast in 2003 where the whole eastern seaboard was out? Well, up in Ontario, Canada, there was sky glow from our light pollution into Canada. When that went out, they could see, this is the exact same house, they could see the Milky Way right above their house during that power outage.
And that was our lighting.
That was our lighting.
That was affecting them.
Influencing
Wow.
Canada.
All
yes.
right. Well, this is amazing. We've got the world map here, and you can see, seems like maybe Africa and Australia, maybe up above Russia. Great places
Africa
to go.
next pushes, absolutely, absolutely. So please look at Utah State Park's website. We're having dark sky programs all the
Right.
time, fun stuff to do. Upcoming, there's one at, what did we say? There was one July 22nd at Wasatch Mountain.
Right.
And there's an evening program there, and a great, you can stay and look at the stars. And then Jordanelle's having a star party on the 24th. Please come down to Antelope Island's celebration.
Yeah, that's
They're
August
designa-
26th.
Right.
They're designating them as the dark sky.
Right, they're going to
location.
receive the award and their little plaque and everything, and we'll have a star
Great.
party. Yes.
All right. Well, we've got thrown up a couple of pictures there that are just spectacular. You can get photos like that as well. And if you're interested in that side of it too, there are some great meetup groups that go out and do some of these photos.
Astrophotography.
Yeah, astrophotography.
And we sometimes have workshops at some of our parks on that, so stay tuned for that as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. I want to thank you so very much for being
Thanks
here.
so much for
We've
having
just
us.
scratched the surface of dark sky viewing and checking out all of those celestial objects that are up there. They've been waiting for you to see them for millennia, and now time to get out and see them
Billions
again.
and billions of years, as
right?
Carl Sagan said. Yes, yes.
You're looking back into history when you look out to your sky. Much more to happen here on the Mountain Morning Show. Jen Billow is here with Park City Education Foundation and more. Kimball Arts Center. Don't go anywhere. This is Park City Television's Mountain Morning Show.